Hi everyone, welcome back to Bumble Stitch's Twixtmas. Today is, I nearly said Christmas Eve, it isn't, it's New Year's Eve, so it's Friday the 31st of December 2021. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of sewing. It's much later in the day. As you can see, I've got the curtains closed behind me because it's starting to get dark outside. I got up way too late this morning. I've fallen into that trap of staying up way past my normal bedtime in the evening watching Floss Tube. I was watching Elizabeth Ann can stitch his lovely whip parade last night, stitching and just generally being outrageous, but I think I'm going to have to knock that on the head soon and get ready to get back into normal bedtimes and routines before I head back to work on Tuesday. So I hope you're all well. Thank you for all your comments on the little gingerbread tart that I finished off yesterday. That was great fun doing that and sharing it with you all. Today's something a little bit different. New Year often brings around a feeling of getting organised and planning and all that kind of thing. And I was very lucky earlier in the year, I was sent a copy of the Laurie Holt Be In My Bonnet planner from Fat Quarter Shop. Now I saw on Instagram and also on the live stream that was on Fat Quarter Shop's YouTube channel that Kimberly had been given they'd actually taken her planner when she wasn't looking, and Gina Tell of Thread Graffiti had made a wonderful quilted cover for it. And I thought that is a genius idea because this planner has got a lovely sort of linen finish to it and it's beautiful, but I'm worried that through the course of the year, as I use this as my stitchy and crafty planner, it's going to get a little bit messed up and I don't want to see it get ruined. Plus, if you can cover something with quilted fabric, I say that's a win. So with that as my inspiration, I thought, now how am I going to do that? And I remembered that Liz from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch had done a tutorial on her YouTube channel. I'm going to put this down rather than keep holding it up. She'd done a tutorial a while back on making a notebook cover, like a ring bound notebook cover. And I thought, well, that will work perfectly for this planner. So I was watching that this morning and I will pop a link down below in the description box to that video. And I have prepared my fabrics to make a cover. Now I happen to have exactly the same Laurie Holt fabrics that Gina used to make Kimberly's cover. So this is a completely shameless copy of that, but I thought it was so pretty, why not just do it exactly the same or as well as I can do it. So I'm not going to give you sort of dimensions and a tutorial as such because obviously Liz has already done that and all the information you need is in her video. But I have, I'll show you the fabrics that I've chosen. So this is a Laurie Holt fabric that I'm going to be using for the outside of the cover. And for my lining, again, these are all Laurie Holt fabrics. I'm using this with the gorgeous little scissors. And for the pockets, I'm going to use the penmanship fabric. I thought that was most appropriate for the planner, and also I really like the way the colours will match. Now Liz used a fusible fleece in her tutorial, which I didn't have any of in my stash, and I could have popped onto Amazon and bought some, but I thought, well, let's try and just use everything from stash. Let's not add any extra cost to this project. So I've just cut a piece of ordinary quilt batting to use, and I'll just use a little bit of the what's it called, I've got some here, this stuff, this 505 glue based spray. So I'm going to use that to fix my batting in and do a bit of quilting on the front cover and put it all together. So I'm going to get on and prepare. I'm going to be using, I'm going to just do like quite a smaller seams doable sort of crosshatch quilt pattern on the front cover, and I'm just going to use a friction pen and a ruler to mark those lines. So when I film me sewing, don't be alarmed if you see lots of marks across my fabric. I use the friction pen, which comes out when you iron, so it'll be absolutely fine. So I will get cracking with that, and I will film some of it, and I will pop back at the end to show you my finished planner cover. I've marked all the grid lines out on here for me to use as a guide, and that was a bit of an ordeal actually, because it seems that all my friction markers have actually gone really dry, so they've gone straight into the bin after this. So I'm going to get on and just add the batting, just a little bit in from the edges, as Liz says in her tutorial. And I'm not going to put too much on this, just enough to hold it in place while I do the quilting. And just smooth it into place like that. Okay, I'm going to move the camera now so that you can see me sewing, and then we'll get this all joined together. I've just finished the quilting. As I said, just a simple crosshatch design, just did it really quickly, and I find it easier just to check on the back to make sure I haven't missed any lines, because it's really easy to do that. I was going to go, these are just inch squares, I was going to go for 1/2 inch squares to make it really nice and tiny, but I was worried that that would just bring everything in too much. So I'm just going to iron this now to get rid of all these friction pen marks, and then I'm going to pin the lining and the pockets in and get to putting it all together. So I have my quilted piece, which, as you can see, ignore there's a little tiny fly in here that's driving me mad. I'm not quite sure where it's come from. Yes, I have my quilted piece here. As you can see, it's nice and without the lines, and it's actually, considering it was sort of speed sewing, I think I'm quite pleased with the way that's turned out. So I've got my pockets here lined up, and I just run a little top stitch along there, and that one is actually upside down, so I'm glad I spotted that. Although it isn't, this isn't strictly directional, I've gone with the way that the text is. I'll just snip those threads off there and lay this all out, just lining up. As I said, this is all in Liz's tutorial. And then the final piece is the lining fabric on the top. So I'm just lining this all up, making sure it's all neat. I'm actually going to flip it over now so that I can see. It's fractionally bigger, but I think we're going to get away with that. And I'm just going to pin this so that it doesn't wiggle about while I'm sewing it. Okay, so that's all pinned now. I've left a bigger gap here so that I know that's where to, actually I'm going to put a little pin here to mark pointing towards so that I don't forget as I'm sewing. This is the gap I'm going to leave open to turn it in the right way once it's sewn. So that's all sewn together now, the three sections, and I've got the gap here, as you can see, that I will use to turn it in the right way. I'm just going to take this opportunity to just snip off the corners, obviously not going beyond the line of your seam. And then I'm going to turn it inside out, give it a press, and we'll see how it fits before finishing off the other side. This is just from when I used to do paper craft, and it's just a, I think it's called a bone folder, but I find it really handy for getting into the corners of projects. Okay, so before I go any further, I suppose we should have a moment of truth and just see how this, you can see it's starting to come together really nicely, but I'm going to just pop my planner in and make sure that it fits. And hopefully it does. So yes, so far so good. Obviously it all needs pressing and top stitching around the edges, but it's coming together really nicely, and there is the top stitching will take up a little tiny bit more room, which will make the fit a bit better. I have finished my planner cover, and it is by no means perfect, but I'm really pleased with how it came out. So I don't know if the camera will pick it up. I'll try and take a photo of this to show you better, but you can see it fits really nicely around here. In Lizzie's tutorial, she does give you all the instructions for measuring. Doesn't have to be, you know, this is my planner, but your planner or your notebook or anything that you want to cover. So as you can see on the inside, I have the penmanship, and again on the back, and I have a nice protective cover for my planner, and I'm looking forward to filling in some plans in this tomorrow and this evening. I've got quite a lot of exciting things that are going in here. As I said, this is just for my cross-stitching quilting. Anything crafty will go in this planner, and I will share that with you tomorrow when I join you for the last day of Twixtmas.